So 2025 has been a rough year for me for a number of factors. Some were things that went wrong, other things were left pending, and other things were all just fabrications of my imagination, essentially making things seem worse than they actually were. Now, because of those things, I had stopped working out, I had stopped playing music, I had stopped listening to music because during my low points, it all just started to sound like noise, and playing video games or watching TV just didn't feel enjoyable anymore. Most importantly, I had decided to shift my video editing process over to a MacBook because I had heard many great things about its software for content creation, music creation, and the overall just quality level of its hardware. But when I actually got around to buying it and trying it, learning a brand new editing program, it just felt like an insurmountable task because of what was going on, and the channel started going by the wayside. Nowadays, thanks to the steps I've taken, I finally got around to giving the MacBook a shot for editing. So here's my experience with the MacBook Pro M4. Let's jump right in. Come to think of it, I first bought a MacBook Pro M4 Pro, then determined I didn't need such a powerful chip. Then I got a MacBook Air M3, and while its processor was more than capable, the 13-inch screen was too small. Even for web surfing, since my typical setup involves having two web pages open, one a little bigger than the other, and the problem is the smaller one, it wouldn't display the full web page, even horizontally, of course. So I ended up getting rid of the MacBook Air M3 and I bought a MacBook Pro M4 base model instead. I was hoping its single fan, base level chip, and inferior keyboard compared to the Air, at least in my opinion, would be enough for my use case for a long while. I mean, I'm hoping this laptop will last me at least a solid 5 years without any slowdowns or imperfections when it comes to my process. I plan on using this for everything regarding my channel, from doing research to scripting, editing videos, uploading videos, and even communications, which is just a fancy way of saying replying to emails. But I also plan on getting back into music creation and using this to edit my instrumentals as well as, potential EDM tracks that could be fun. And, why not? Let's see what it can do for gaming too. Now, back when I recently got into MacBooks, I tried the Final Cut Pro trial and it seemed too complex for me. So this time around, I tried out iMovie, hoping it would be enough for my needs. Now, to my surprise, it covered about 98% of what I use. I'm learning the ups and downs of it, but it's what I've been using since the long time no see update video I posted about 2 months ago, I think. Now, after learning the basics and looking up some tips online, I've solidified my process and editing videos a little more quickly and with better quality. And I've also picked up some quality accessories to help me with my channel's process along the way. So for editing video as well as for my primary job, I got the Logitech MX Master 3S, which is absolutely a beauty. And yes, if you're watching this video right now, the Logitech MX Master 4 exists, but I bought both, compared both, preferred the 3. Now this is really cool for video editing specifically because I can delegate about 85% of my editing to my right hand, and I can just rest my left hand or focus on another task with it. And don't you get any wrong ideas, sucios. So just to show you what I'm working with, the front button here on the side has been programmed to Command B or Control B for Windows users, which ends up being the snip or cut portion in iMovie. Now the rear side button has been programmed to delete or backspace for Windows users, which allows you to delete whatever highlighted content, whether that be video snippets, audio snippets, whatever that you cut out, just delete them from your timeline. And then the mouse wheel button has been programmed to space, which in iMovie is play pause. So by doing this, I cut, I delete, I pause and play, and I rarely ever touch my keyboard unless I need to undo an action or I need to manually type in something in the bottom, Now, I also got this softbox from Amazon. Links in the description below, by the way. Now, thanks to moving, my lighting situation has changed here in my new place. So this will help provide those higher quality clear shots of this face right here, as well as B-roll of items featured on this channel. But hey, you be the judge of that. Now, another thing that really bogged me down from recording more content was having to use an XLR microphone. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love my AT2035 and the Scarlett Solo Gen 2. It's, you know, they're amazing and they do a pretty good job for the price I paid for them. But it's just such a hassle. You have to grab the thing and take it somewhere, assuming you don't record at your desk. And the idea of the channel is let's keep things fresh. Let's change the look of my background, you know, my set when I film certain videos. And the idea of like, okay, go unplug this and then move it over there and then find a place to clamp it and figure out the ergonomics of the whole freaking setup and then make sure the acoustics sound well, because as you may have heard in my iFi Kensei video, no, the mic just does not sound good if there's bad acoustics, man. Editing aside, it's just not good. So this is where the DJI Mic Mini comes into play, which is what I'm wearing and recording with right now. It honestly shocked me how well this sounds, and I mean, again, you be the judge of that. You've been hearing it the whole time. The receiver plugs right into the phone's USB port, or it can plug into your mirrorless or DSLR camera via 3.5 to 3.5 to the adapter, the receiver I should say. And then just like that, boom, you've got a semi-professional mic setup for on-the-go videos, portability, and it's still very, very high quality. Much easier for changing your environment and keeping your videos fresh and new. Now, down the line, I do plan on getting myself a mirrorless camera so that I can improve the video quality of the channel, as well as have a dedicated camera that is solely meant for recording stuff, and that way I can just have my phone at my side or pull something out and not, you know, just waste the battery on the thing. But, you know, for what it's worth, the iPhone 16 Pro that I am currently using right now does take very good video, and again, you be the judge of that. You're watching it right now in 4K 30. So speaking of, I actually got this iPhone 16 Pro while I was over in Vancouver, BC this past February because I wanted to upgrade my camera setups precisely for this channel to something a little more modern than my iPhone 13 Pro. Also, I got it over there particularly because I wanted that SIM card slot. As a dual phone line user whose secondary line can't be used via eSIM, this was an absolute necessity for me, at least for now. Yeah, and unfortunately it did take me until November to actually get back on the horse, but hey, here we are. So if I plan on editing videos and doing several other projects, the MacBook's 14-inch screen is actually plentiful for many of my tasks. But a larger screen would vastly improve my experience and help me with, you know, side tasks and research right in the middle of editing videos without having to stack content on top of each other. Sorry. So for this, I got the Samsung S90D 42-inch OLED TV. Now, I know it sounds a bit unorthodox to use as a monitor, but with OLED's ultra-low latency, as well as the beautiful pristine quality of the screen itself, it turned out to be an excellent monitor for both my primary job as well as YouTube. Absolute game-changing experience. Now here's the thing. On Mac, I keep the full 4K resolution because thankfully the display is the perfect size to keep text large enough to read. Small so that a lot of stuff fits there, but just large for it to still be legible. Same thing with Windows. The text is, for me, just the perfect size at 100% resolution scale at full 4K. Now, because of that, the amount of screen real estate you get to work with is absolutely incredible. It's better than using an ultra-wide, in most cases at least. Oh, that reminds me, the Atom Audio A7Vs. I also got those for the sake of the channel, as well as, you know, personal use. The Atom Audio A7Vs are, bar none, my absolute favorite monitors of all time. And I've even compared them against the A8H, their larger siblings in the A-series line. Don't get me wrong, those were very, very impressive too, but there's something special. There's a secret sauce to the A7Vs where they're very analytical, they are crystal clear, and yet they're still pretty punchy in the bass. enough for me to enjoy music all the way down to 43 Hz, as well as use them as an alternative to my HD 600s whenever I get tired and just want to put my headphones down. Now I'll make a proper review of these down the line, but for now, just know that they are incredible, just incredible. And by the way, let me know down in the comment section if you do want a review of the Atom Audio A7Vs. Those, they're worth your time, man. They're worth your time. So back when I was lost in the woods, so to speak, I basically lost the ability to stick to my to-do list and keep a proper schedule. So other than work, I did pretty much nothing. But now that I've been recovering, I've been creating a brand new schedule and creating new and improved habits to keep optimizing my life. And well, that includes this YouTube channel, of course. Before getting my MacBook, I primarily worked at my gaming setup. My work setup was for my primary job only, and my chill setup was for gaming and YouTube, especially at the previous place, the old apartment. This, however, presented many issues for me. For starters, the fact that it was a machine primarily dedicated for gaming means I would start working on a project, and then at some point down the line, I just lost my groove because all I could think of was like booting up that new game I bought and just getting to play. And before I knew it, I just stopped editing videos. I stopped writing for them because I was playing a game. I found it really, really hard to stay focused. I often found myself, starting to like daydream or just reaching for my phone and just surfing the web. And then before I knew it, oh, what am I doing? That's right, I'm video editing. And on top of all of that, it just got tired. I got tired being at the same chair, same spot, same desk, doing the same thing over and over and over again with pure silence in between each clip. So once I got my MacBook, my YouTube habits changed drastically. Because it's a portable device with plenty of power to get stuff done, even off of the battery, because it doesn't reduce how much power it uses and what its potential is off of the battery. So I primarily edit at my desk, but when I get tired or need a change of pace, I go to the couch and I edit and write using my C-shaped tray table, which just pulls right in here, and boom, I am working. Now, thankfully, the MacBook doesn't run on lower power when it's running off of the battery as opposed to when it's plugged in. What you get plugged in is what you get off of the battery unless you select low power mode, which is absolutely just brilliant. While I'm editing here, I'll have my TV on, which is behind this camera, in other words, my phone, and my home theater setup, and I'm just playing stuff in the background, maybe a Let's Play, God, that dates me, man. God, a stream of Vinesauce Vinny or something, and just enjoy it in the background and sometimes focus in and then distract myself from the editing. And you know what, doing that, just having sound in my place, having a comfortable chair to sit in, it's really brought life into my apartment and sort of helped me stay focused by providing constructive breaks in between, as opposed to just fatiguing me all the way to the last ounce of my energy. Now, this is my preferred editing spot, though I do it mostly at my main desk. Now, as opposed to that, when I'm writing, I actually head over to the counter and I just sit there with a cup of coffee or a soda and my laptop, and maybe I'll have some music in the background, something like that. And it's so great because the device is portable and I'm just writing. There's just something about a high top spot that helps me edit. And that's all possible because of my MacBook. And then let's not forget the main purpose of a laptop. It's computing on the go. That's right, I actually got to editing the AirPods Pro 3 review back at my grandma's house while I was on a trip visiting family in Mexico. You know those weird spots in between, visiting family where, you hung out with them and then they left and then you're just kind of alone for a little bit while the next family shows up or they come back from work, something like that. And you're like, how do I fill these next few hours? Like, it's not my home. I'm not just gonna turn on the TV or, just mess around with things. You can pretty much only stick to what you got. You know what? That's a perfect video editing opportunity. I bust out my MacBook Pro, I bust out my mouse, I bust out my headphones, and I'm just editing. That's it. That's all I gotta do. You know what else? I've actually edited on the MacBook Pro's trackpad before. Now, a mouse is preferable, of course, but the MacBook's trackpad is so good that it's actually doable. I've done it on a Windows computer before, and even a MacBook Air's trackpad, which is still very good, and I just can't, man. I just can't do it. But a MacBook Pro trackpad is like the passable trackpad for video editing. The trackpad plus the 120 Hz ProMotion display on the MacBook Pro, I think in combination, are what make it feel so responsive and so much easier to use. So, in case you've never heard this, the MacBook Pro easily has the best speakers on the market, but that's not what I want to talk about right now. I want to talk about the internal DAC amp that comes within this unit. So, for the layman, right, the DAC amp is what provides power to whatever headphones are connected to it and converts your digital signal from like Spotify or YouTube or whatever source you got into analog, which is actually what can turn into sound, actual power. And to my surprise, the MacBook Pro's DAC amp, heck, even the MacBook Air M3s while I had it, it's pretty powerful and it is pretty clean too, which is a surprising thing, very surprising thing to say of a motherboard audio chip. Like, that's so crazy to me. So let's go ahead and talk about amplification here. On my Focal clears, I listen at around 8 out of 16, or I can bump it up to 9 or 10 for quieter songs. On my Sennheiser HD600s, I listen at about 7, sometimes maybe 8 out of 16 as well. Now let's talk about planars. My HiFiMAN Arya Stealth, I do have to bump that one up just a little bit more, 1 to 2 notches more, but you know what? It powers it, and they don't sound weak or flabby. They sound very, very decent for what it is. I mean, to my ears at the very least, and yeah, okay, I've been out of the game for 8-9 months, fine, but it's less than a year, right? The level of quality this thing has is equivalent to that of a mid-tier DAC amp combo. I mean, to hear significant improvements, you'd have to get something in the upper end of mid-tier at least, I think. So if you're not extremely picky about having the highest end DAC amp, you really can just chuck this thing in a backpack, chuck your headphones in a backpack, and then that's it. That's your audio setup. When you go to a hotel or someone's house or, you know, I don't know, back home to see your relatives. That's it. That's all you need. 2 items. You can do that and call it a day knowing fully well that something like this can power your AudioTechnica M50Xs or your Sennheiser HD600s, something like that. You can take something with you and use it and be perfectly fine knowing fully well that this little 14-inch computer will run it. It will get the job done. So just some quick notes on things I've noticed with the MacBook Pro. Again, this M4 base model, it comes with 16 gigs of RAM installed. Now, I was worried that such a base level acceptable amount would get bogged down after like all of my apps, my video editing tool, which is iMovie, I know, browsers, you know, for research and all that were open and running at the same time. Surprisingly, not at all. Everything just stays open. No need to refresh anything. Nothing gets accidentally closed out of. It's 16 gigs of RAM does the job perfectly well. Now, for the record, I also had the MacBook Air M1 with 8 gigs of RAM here for testing purposes, and I was also pleasantly surprised at its performance. I mean, I tried doing the exact same things on it as I do with my MacBook Pro M4, and you know what? It did it. It did it 90 to 95% as well. Yes, the 8 gigs of RAM were always producing a yellow in terms of the memory pressure, so it wasn't great. I maybe had one thing close on me like once or twice per day, which I know it's not ideal, but it's adequate. You know, it's very usable. It's really not the end of the world, especially if you minimize what you have open and just be a little more conservative with your RAM. Now, there were some minor exceptions with the M1 as opposed to the M4. Like when exporting my videos, it definitely took longer to complete probably a little more than twice as long. As I said, the memory pressure was almost at a constant yellow, like maybe 60% of the time. The other 40% was just like light web browsing, a single web browser open at a time. Now, the reason I bring up this MacBook Air M1 is because if it taught me anything, it's that I made a pretty good purchase, because this thing is gonna last me a long time. Unless, of course, just kidding. Now, the battery on this thing, it lasts forever, especially when doing lighter tasks. Here's what I've noticed with several use cases without low power mode enabled. When video editing and having browser tabs open for references, this thing lasts me an easy 8 hours, maybe a bit longer. When writing a review in Google Docs with several tabs open across Firefox and Google Chrome, yes, I use Chrome, don't judge me, I don't like Safari, as well as Spotify playing and communication apps open like WhatsApp and Discord and Messages, I lost maybe 26% of my battery during a total of 4 hours and 15 minutes. Do the math, it should last me a total of around 16 hours and 20 minutes or so, doing those exact same things. Now, of course, when gaming, your battery won't last as long. For example, when playing Cyberpunk 2077 on the recommended settings for an M4 chip on the MacBook Pro, at 30 FPS, the battery depreciated around 13% in 20 minutes, which equals to about 2.5 hours of gaming on a full charge 0 to 100, or 100 to 0. I mean, considering that Cyberpunk 2077 is a full-fledged AAA title, that's pretty impressive. So I know the title of this video is supposed to be all about how this one computer may have revived my dead channel and is the cure-all miracle to everything that... But no, that's not true. We even went through several items in the video, not just one, so my title was immediately clickbait. But the truth is, these were just byproducts of what actually saved this channel and my life potentially. And that is getting help with your mental health, being open about it and willing to accept that maybe, you know, sometimes you just need a little help, man. It's a real thing and it's completely normal. Just go and get it and you'll be way better off for it. Your life will improve, but you gotta go fetch it yourself. No one's gonna bring it to you. That's all I really wanted to say, man. That's what helped me, as well as those accessories. But I really hope this helps you out. And I guess this was just more of a me talking and getting a little real video. So, you know, thanks for watching, and I'll see you real soon. Okay, ciao.